Today's video is brought to you by Card Kingdom. And right now you can get this sweet Scoop Soldier sticker when you order over on cardkingdom.com. Just mention in your order notes that you want a Scoop Soldier sticker when you check out. Hey friends, Commander 2021 pre-constructed decks have been revealed, which means it's time for another round of my Precon upgrades. I'll go over how each pre-constructed deck plays, why you should buy it, analyze its strengths and weaknesses, and then use that information to recommend an optimal and impactful $50 upgrade. These videos are abbreviated versions of my upgrade articles, so if you're looking for a more in-depth guide to upgrading the deck, then check it out, link in the video description below. Today we're covering the Precon Quandrix, a token deck with a strong +1/+1 counter sub-theme. These two different archetypes merge together for the first time thanks to the introduction of a new type of token, fractals, 0/0 creatures that come with +1/+1 counters. The goal of the deck is to fill the board with tokens, most notably fractal tokens, with cards like Paradox Zone, Dika, Fractal Theorist, and Geometric Nexus, and then enhance those tokens, drawing cards off Curiosity Crafter, adding tokens to them with Master Biomancer, or bouncing away non-tokens with Perplexing Test. The end result is a stompy deck that merges tokens and +1/+1 counters in a way we've never seen before, essentially becoming a stompy deck that smashes face with huge beaters but has a ton of tricks up its sleeve. The Precon's main themes merge together with its face commander, Adrix and Nev Twincasters. Adrix and Nev is a ridiculous commander. In a deck all about making tokens, having a commander that doubles all of her token generators is absolutely insane, and it's even resilient against targeted removal thanks to Ward 2. Cheap, resilient to removal, and one of the best cards in the archetype, it's hard to imagine a better token commander than Adrix. So we're going to keep it in the command zone for our upgraded version of the deck. And by the way, just to clarify, because this question comes up very often, Adrix's replacement effect works just fine with fractal tokens. Basically, if you make a fractal with a card like Paradox Zone or Fractal Harness, Adrix says you make 2 of those tokens instead, both with the same number of counters on them. However, cards that copy tokens instead of doubling them, like Asika's Chariot, don't also copy the +1/+1 counters on the target, so the copy would be a 0/0 creature and immediately die. So when it comes to fractals, replacement effects are good and copy effects are bad. This means that the two best and most obvious upgrades to the deck are Token Doublers, Parallel Lives, and Doubling Season, especially the latter since it will also double the number of counters the fractals will enter with. But since both of these cards are ridiculously expensive since they're format staples and keep dodging reprints, we won't be adding them as upgrades here. But fear not friends, because I'll show you how we can dramatically increase the deck's power level for less than the cost of either of these two cards. Alright, first let's see what we're working with by looking at the unaltered deck list. Right out of the box, Quandrix Quandry does a great job focusing on its primary theme, tokens, with 32 cards that either generate tokens or directly support tokens. The secondary theme, +1/+1 counters, also has a strong showing, with 19 cards that create +1/+1 counters or directly support counters. Fractals tie the two different archetypes together as they are both tokens and come with +1/+1 counters. Now that we've glanced at the list as a whole, let's take a look at the deck's ratios. As I often explain in my Budget Commander videos, every time I build a rough draft of a deck, I use a checklist to make sure the deck has all of its fundamentals covered, such as mana, interaction, card advantage, and so on. This gives me a reference point to compare to the deck and see which areas may need improvement. My general ratio is 50 mana, lands and ramp, usually a 37-13 split, 10 card draw, cards that net you 2 or more cards in hand, 8 targeted removal, split between creature, artifact, enchantment removal, and counter magic, 3 board wipes, creature light decks might want 1 more, and creature heavy decks might want 1 less, 2 graveyard recursion, 2 flexible tutors, at higher budgets though I recommend more tutors, 1 graveyard hate, and 1 finisher, something that can win games the turn you cast it without too much setup. That's always my starting point, which is then tweaked to suit the individual deck strategy and further tweaked with playtesting. I always find this checklist immensely useful to figure out some quick ways to improve the deck in question. Now let's check out the rough ratios for Quantum Quandrix and how it compares. I count 50 mana, 40 lands and 10 ramp, 11 card draw, 8 targeted removal, 2 board wipes, 0 graveyard recursion, 0 flexible tutors, 1 graveyard hate, and 2 finishers. The numbers here look very good, which is thankfully the norm for precons these days. There's only 2 things that caught me by surprise: the lack of graveyard recursion and the inclusion of an actual piece of graveyard hate, which almost no precons ever have. After looking at the deck ratios to see what the deck is missing, I analyzed the individual cards of the deck to identify the weakest cards that we can replace with upgrades, which you can find in the accompanying article. But for this video, we're just going to skip ahead to the sweet stuff, the upgrades. So this is how I'd upgrade the deck with a $50 budget. First, we start by upgrading the deck's ramp. We're taking out Coiling Oracle for Sakura Tribe Elder, which is just more consistent ramp. Then we're taking out Quandrix Cultivator for Rishkar Pima Renegade, which is faster ramp that supports our counter theme. Then we're taking out Eureka Moment for its better version, Growth Spiral. And we're taking out Nissa's Expedition, which is pretty slow, for Search of Tomorrow, which is just faster and better ramp. Then we're taking out Primal Empathy for Hedonist Climb, which is a way stronger card that supports our counter strategy, also ramps, and also acts as a win condition. Honestly, Hedonist Climb is really awesome. Next, we're going to be improving the token aspect of the deck. So first up, we're cutting out Kazandu Tuskcaller for Scoot Swarm, which is just a better token generator, much more mana efficient. Then we're cutting Biomathematician for Avenger of Zendikar. Avenger of Zendikar is just one of the best cards in the entire deck, and Biomathematician, it tries, but I mean, it's just a throwaway common. Then we're taking out Hornet Nest for Sylvan Offering. Sylvan Offering is an amazing on-demand token generator, and Hornet Nest can be decent, but it really doesn't do anything in our deck unless someone attacks into it. Then we're taking out Desolation Twin for Body of Research, which is a bigger token for significantly less mana. Then we're taking out Geometric Nexus for Stolen Identity. Geometric Nexus does make a fractal, but it is horribly slow, whereas Stolen Identity is a very efficient token generator. It can make 2 tokens on the first turn, and then 1 token each subsequent turn as long as it can deal combat damage to a player. Also, it copies creatures and artifacts our opponents control as well. Then we're cutting Crafty Cutpurse for Chasm Skulker. The Skulker supports both tokens and counters very well, and the Cutpurse is just too situational. Next, we're upgrading the +1/+1 counter theme of the deck. And we're starting off by replacing Biomass Mutation for Tanazir Quandrix. Mutation is a fantastic finisher in the deck, but Tanazir is even better. Then we're cutting Champion of Wits for Fathom Mage. Mage just draws way more cards in this deck and fits the counter theme, and Champion of Wits, at least to make the token, costs a lot of mana. Then we're cutting Golden Ratio for Inspiring Call. Inspiring Call is just amazing card draw and insane protection in the deck. Then we're cutting the weakest removal card in the precon, Arashi Sky Asunder, which is just situational and slow, for Bane of Progress, a commander staple that is amazing removal on a stick plus has counter synergy. And then we're cutting the other Kamigawa flavored card in the deck, Kasido Orochi Archmage, which is just kind of lame and slow in our deck, to be honest. And we're putting in Evolution Sage. A Landfall Proliferate is just insane in this deck. Then we're cutting Ruxa Patient Professor for some actual recursion in the deck, God Pharaoh's Gift, which is slow and costs a lot of mana, but it turns all of our creatures into tokens, which is just insanely powerful in this token deck. Next, we're upgrading the interaction of the deck. First, we're cutting Incubation / Incongruity, which is kind of too expensive for both ends, and we're adding in Decisive Denial, which is an amazing new versatile removal spell. Then we're cutting Curse of the Swine for Negate. Curse is a fine removal spell, but it is one of the weakest ones in the deck, and I really wanted to add another counter spell into the deck, and Negate works perfectly here. Finally, we're tweaking the lands a little bit. First, we're replacing Temple of the False God for Colony Ambush, one of my favorite MDFCs, amazing removal, and a land when we need it. Next, we're replacing Study Hall for Crashing Drawbridge. The deck really wants a nice mass haste enabler, and you can't really beat Crashing Drawbridge for that in Simic. Then we're replacing Llanowar Reborn for Hall of Oracles, which in my opinion is just a better land in this deck. Finally, we're replacing an island for Lidyara Mirror Lake, which has fantastic token synergy in the deck. And we're taking out an island for Reliquary Tower because this deck is full of burst draw, can easily draw 10 or more cards in a single turn, so discarding down to hand size would be really rough, so Reliquary Tower is fantastic here. And now here's how the deck looks like with all the swaps made. The deck is now way faster and more well-rounded, plus all of its strengths have been greatly enhanced. And that's it for my Quantum Quandrix $50 upgrade. That's 1 down, 4 to go, so I'll be back soon with the next Precon upgrade. Until then, friends, see ya! Thanks for watching the video. If you liked it, help us out by clicking the like button down below. And to keep up with the latest and greatest, make sure to click the subscribe button. And if you want to watch similar videos, click on the links appearing on screen right now.